We next move on to spirituality for work. And who is better qualified to talk about this than Dr. Thanos Kriemadis? Dr. Thanos Kriemadis is the president of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Committee of the University of Peloponnese, Tripolis, Greece. And he is someone who has worked a lot. He has done a lot of research on spirituality at the workplace. So how can spirituality help us in the field of work? We would ask this question and we would be suitably answered by Dr. Thanos Kriemadis. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your good words. And I want to thank first the Shrey Institute, the Canoria family, especially Dr. Canoria, whom I know since the 11th World Confluence, which was held in Kolkata, and I was there and I met him. And I thank him very much for inviting me to participate in this conference, as well as I would like to thank my personal friend, Rahul Varma, who also is doing a very good work with Dr. Kanoria in India. And I know about that. And I'm here just to help people understand that spirituality is not just a general concept, but it is a concept applied to businesses as well. And through my extent literature review, we have identified that even in India, they have done a lot of work in terms of applied research in spirituality at the workplace. And I'm here now to just share with you all these concepts around workplace spirituality, and to let you know about the future research in this area, and also about the implications of this research in the organizational performance of businesses today, as well as public organizations, not only businesses. So it is something very interesting and very useful to all kinds of businesses, profit, non-profit organizations, non-governmental organizations, public administration. Is something that touches everybody, every kind of business, every kind of organization. So let's start first with spirituality in general, then I'll move into workplace spirituality, then I will share what are the implications of our research in the organizational performance of contemporary businesses. Then I'll give you the general factors that lead to a global spiritual leadership model that we have developed with the help of our friend again, Paul Palmarosa and Chris Rees, who have written a very nice book from principles to profit. And also I'll tell you what are my research actions will be in the future and how they will be useful to all of you, to all businessmen and to all public administration offices. Let's start with the introduction that I want to note from the beginning that spirituality is a concept difficult to define in the literature due to its complexity. There is a wide range of definitions given by writers. Each one views spirituality from a different perspective. Spirituality, however, is accessible to everyone. It expresses the inner peace of a person, but also reflects the connectedness with other people and the environment in general. It is an existential search for meaning and purpose in life based on the person's feelings and its deep-rooted values, and consists of inner experiences, emotions, and beliefs such as love, appreciation, goodwill, cooperation, trust, and also faith to something, someone, or the sacred. The definitions of spirituality in the literature are various and characterized by diverse approaches of the concept. Some focus on the relation to something sacred and transcendent. Other views of spirituality introduce values such as meaning in life, compassion, etc. Regarding workplace spirituality now, many authors agree that workplace spirituality uh, is a part of organizational culture. That's the critical point, and consists of individual and organizational values such as trust, compassion, kindness, integrity that improves the relations between employees and brings them closer. It increases the overall performance of the organization and contributes to what we call organizational excellence. Organizational excellence means excellence in everything that the organization provides. The organization provides products, but not only products. It has processes, people, resources, any kind of measurements. So when we're talking about organizational excellence, we are talking about excellence in everything that the organization does, has, or provides. The literature points out that organizational spirituality is a set of values, emotions, and experiences within the work environment. It focuses on interconnectedness, unity, and solidarity. Spirituality at work refers mostly to employees' search for meaning and purpose in their work. It expresses their need to feel member of a larger community or society, create bonds with other co-workers, and communicate with honesty and trust to each other. Although the definitions of spirituality are various, they have in their majority common dimensions, which are meaning and purpose of work, sense of community and inner life. In the literature, these dimensions may appear in related terms as calling, interconnectedness, wholeness, etc. in the general literature. Okay. According to some very serious authors in terms of workplace spirituality, workplace spirituality is a search for meaning and purpose in work and life, a sense of connectedness to others in the organizational environment, and the coherence of their ethics with the organizational values. Workplace spirituality consists of three components. That's what all the authors say: the inner life, meaning and purpose in work, interconnectedness, and sense of belonging, which result in increased individual and organizational performance, as reported by many authors in the business literature. Other authors consider spirituality as a set of values reflected in the organizational culture. This leads to better relations among employees and enhances the feelings of wholeness and happiness. They also put light on the three elements of spirituality: meaningful work, sense of community, and alignment with organizational values. That's what I want you to keep. that to keep your mind in when we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about meaningful work. So this is the great job, the great task of managers to create meaningful work, to give a sense of community to all employees, and to align employees' values with organizational values. But this is not only the things that spiritual leaders do. What else spiritual leaders do? They do a lot of things. First of all, they spread the organizational vision, mission, objectives, and values which signify the needs of customers, employees, society, and owners of the organization. Second, they create human-centered policies concerning the safety and well-being of all workers and retirees. Third, they reward executives for their outcomes, not only financial outcomes, but also outcomes that deal with social responsibility, activities of the companies, as well as satisfaction of all stakeholders. And this is the meaning. When we are talking about spirituality, is that we care about all our stakeholders, not only some, not only our customers or our employees, all our stakeholders. Fourth, they focus on operating with honesty, trust, and reliability for customers, employees, and all stakeholders. They craft policies that concern structural changes, considering and respecting the employees at the same time. Fifth, they establish recruitment policies that involve decent management of the people, and they communicate with honesty and dignity to all of the stakeholders, and also they keep away of prejudices, and they are candid. All these are the things that spiritual leaders should do according to the literature. Now, why we are doing all this? Why we are dealing with workplace spirituality? What are the benefits for the companies? Studies have shown that workplace spirituality increases the creativity of the people, the motivation of the people. They are more self-motivated. As we say, inner self motivation exists in those people. Integrity, trust, openness, devotion, all these are increased in your employees. So if you have employees who are more creative, more motivated, you are dealing with them with trust, openness, and devotion, even they come to self-actualization stages, according to the research. All these factors, you probably guess now, improve not only organizational performance, but also organizational excellence, as we said before. So excellence in everything that the organization does or produces. Now, taking into account my friends' work, Paul Palmarosa and Chris, in their book From Principles to Profits, based on that, we have developed a model. And the model has 5 different stages. So if you want to accomplish spirituality in the workplace, that's the way to do it. First of all, we have to develop a spiritual, as we call it, organizational culture based on, first, humanistic and ethical values. So you have to cultivate these values, e.g., respect for people, uncompromising integrity, continuous improvement, some of the values that you may cultivate in the workplace. Second, spiritual leadership and management by principles or values. Of course, we have heard of the words management by objectives. Now we have to skip away and to go into management by values or by principles. So we have to establish this kind of management system in our organization. Third, we have to implement organizational policies that empower people to act and create a healthy work climate within our organization. Fourth, we have to develop a corporate social responsibility strategy. And fifth, we have to measure the organizational performance. We have to measure all the results for satisfying all stakeholders. So we have to measure the satisfaction levels of all stakeholders and not just our customers or our employees. Okay, if we are doing all these necessary steps in developing a spiritual organizational culture within a business organization, this actually is a spiritual, let's say, transformation process of a business. We try to transform the whole organizational culture into a spiritual one. If we do that, and if we are successful with that, then we must know that this will result in employee satisfaction. And employees, when employees and managers are happy and satisfied, you know that they will have higher employee productivity, pride of workmanship, higher employee morale, higher employee commitment and loyalty to business, and of course, increased customer and quality service orientation. This, if this is the case, then this will result in customer satisfaction and customer loyalty, and thus higher customer retention rate as well as attraction of new customers. This will result in increased market share and revenues, and that's the thing. I hear a bell here. What does it mean to me? I heard something. Anyway, if the business achieves to keep expenses at the same time under control, or even reduces the operating expenses, then it can increase its profits as well. And we know that in order to increase the market share of the business, we have to implement an effective promotional and marketing strategy, including all the promotional mix elements, such as advertising, social media marketing, publicity, personal selling, sales promotion, sponsorships, public relations campaign, etc., with a competitive price, of course. Now, what is the future? What is the future about workplace spirituality research? Okay, I want to say that so far, most of the authors and the researchers are either psychologists or sociologists. Of course, we have some business-oriented, management-oriented authors. However, most of the researchers are psychologists and sociologists and have examined research questions related mostly to individuals, to employee spirituality. For example, they have examined the relationship between spirituality and employee satisfaction or workplace spirituality and employee commitment or loyalty, things like that. We want to extend, we want to go further this research and try to identify what is the relationship and to actually and to actually prove that there is a relationship between workplace spirituality and organizational performance. In other words, if you implement spiritual practices in your organization, you will have a better organizational performance. In order to do that, we also have to examine further questions that are dealing with business issues, such as what is the relationship between workplace spirituality and business innovation, creativity, or competitiveness? What is the relationship between workplace spirituality and financial performance? We have to measure all this. What is the relationship between workplace spirituality and customer-oriented strategy? We are saying some things. We are basing all these on conclusions from other authors' thinking, but we have to prove it through empirical research, all this stuff from now on. What is the relationship between workplace spirituality and quality management? You know that many people around the world, many consultants are telling us we have to move into total quality management. Is there a relationship? Because there are some things that look like between the organizational culture of total quality management companies and the organizational culture that exists in spiritual based organizations. So our action plan, and I finish with that, is that we first had to develop a valid and reliable questionnaire. I researched many questionnaires in the literature. Many questionnaires include religious-related questions, and these are not accepted by the scientific community. So what I did so far this last year, I developed a questionnaire that has three characteristics. First, it includes questions related to an ethics organizational culture. Second, it includes questions related to the spiritual organizational culture of a business. And third, it includes questions related to leadership effectiveness. We want to relate all this and then to relate all this with the organizational excellence and organizational performance. That's our thinking. Now, now that we have developed this valid and reliable questionnaire, we'll deliver the questionnaire to businesses and public organizations worldwide, conducting what we call comparative research studies. Then we'll publish this research finding in international journals, and then we'll based on all these findings, we'll develop a manual. And this is my proposition now. A manual which will be developed for free and given for free to all organizations worldwide in order to be able to transform their organizations, their processes, and be spiritual ones. This manual, the know-how of this manual, will be delivered to United Nations, to the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, to public administrations worldwide, to national academies of public administration worldwide, to chambers, to scientific associations, to universities, to business schools, to research institutes, to science parks, technological parks, and business parks all around the world. In this way, we want to give something for free in order to be able to transform their processes, their practices, and their policies, and really become spiritual organizations as well. So that was my dream. I think that Dr. Canoria has heard this before, and we need at least 3 to 5 years of extensive research, and then due to this World Confluence, we'll have the opportunity again to present our results and aspire to see more spiritual organizations around the world. Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening to me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thanos Kriemadis. Thank you very much for this very wonderful, very individual, very unique perspective on spirituality. Thank you once again.